Shabbat Shalom Yesharala. First and foremost, I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Ruchah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to those Akim that's preached the word in all truth and sincerity, along to Israelite foreigner brothers that relate the heathens. But the line of outside goes back to the nation of Israel, which the nation of Israel are you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans through the prophecies and curses of Deuteronomy 28 chapter and throughout the Bible. So this is Brother Yakar of my back in the video, and today's video will be entitled "Reward Them That Wait for Thee." I just gonna go on some precepts and Lord willing, you brothers and you sisters out there be edified through the spirit and power of Yahweh by Shemel Shai. You know, and I'm gonna start off in the book of Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach, in the Apocrypha, chapter 36 and verse 16, and it reads, "Reward them that wait for thee, and let thy prophets be found faithful." And that's right, because that's what Yahweh Bashim Moshe is going to do for his elect. He's going to reward them, you know, um, you know, in the kingdom. He's because the elect are going to be joint heirs with Yahweh Shai, and everything and all the works that the elect does in the faith in regards to prophesying, preaching the word correctly, without gal, and the prophets patiently waiting for their Lord Yahweh Shai to come back. The Lord's going to reward them, man, and they're going to be found faithful, because only the elect in these times is going to have faith of Yahweh Bashim Shai and believe in the prophecies, man. And when you define our word reward, see, see what reward means. It says a thing given in recognition of one's service, effort, or achievement. Right. So it says prize, recompense. Recompense means a payback, prize money, winnings, purse, award. You know, and it's going to begin with salvation. You know, having because the elect they're gonna have the hedge of protection in Jacob's trouble, and they're gonna make it all the way to get saved. Now it is written that some of the elect will have to die in the faith for the name of Yahweh Shai, not receiving the MOTB, but their works will pass on, will follow them, and they will be risen up first from the chariots of Israel. But for the most part, the elect is going to be delivered. It says honor. The Lord's going to give um, honor to his elect. It says decoration, benefit. Right. So, when you go to Hebrews 11:6, it says, but without faith, it is impossible to please him. Yeah, so without faith, it's impossible to please Yahweh Shai. You must have some type of faith and believing in the Lord, man. And then the more and more seasoned you be in His truth, the more experience you gain being in the faith. You going through your trials and tribulations. The Lord will increase your faith. It says, "For he that cometh to Yahweh must believe that He is." So when you come to the Lord, you must believe that you're of the hopeful elect. You're of the man. You are a man of the Lord. Humbly speaking. Because the Lord wants us to believe in ourselves as well. You know, and it's all through humility. It says, "And that He is a rewarder of them that diligently seek Him." Right. So the ones that diligently seek Yahweh Shai is going to reward them, man, with salvation. Yahweh Shai is going to grant His elect crowns in their heads, man. Even before all that, the Lord's going to grant the elect the hedge of protection in Jacob's trouble. So they can be spared um, uh, from the enemy, from Esau, man, when they come down with great wrath. because we will definitely need protection from Esau, man, because we can't hide. Esau got all this technology he can find us quickly, but if Yahweh Shai is on our side, if the Lord's on our side, you know, the Lord's going to make a way for us, you know, He's going to protect us. Proverbs 11:18 says, "The wicked worketh for deceitful work, but to him that soweth righteousness shall be a sure reward," man. All right, man. And we get on with our apostles, Elder Great Millstone. We're sowing righteousness, man. Telling our people who they are. That they're you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Americans, you're the true Israelites. Telling them to repent. Prophesying unto them what's about to come. The wrath to come. Jacob's trouble, World War III. Telling them it's going to be famines, it's going to be pestilence, it's going to be race wars very soon. That's really love, man. And all that ties into righteousness, man, because we're telling our people the truth. We're telling we are telling our people what the scriptures say, what the prophecies say, man, and we breaking it down to the best of our ability to them. So that's righteousness, man, and we Lord willing, we be part of the elect, we're gonna get that sure reward, man. You know, this is Psalms 128 and points in verse 2. I'm sorry, verse 1. This is a song of the degrees. Blessed is everyone that fear the Lord Yahweh, that walketh in his ways. Yeah, so which fear, when you're going to go into that word fear, or feareth, is from the Hebrew word yara'ah, or yarah, which means fearing, reverent, afraid. It also means respect. Um, because if he's fearing, reverencing, um, let's see, let's go to this one, root word, yarah. Yeah, right here, respect. So by you fearing the Lord, you respect Him. Because you will think twice before you will do for example, we know that adultery is a sin punishable unto death. And we fear the Lord because now that we know that, we won't commit adultery, we won't sleep with another man's wife. So this is an example of respecting the Lord, Yahweh Shai, and our fellow Israelite neighbor. It's not only the Israelites. We don't commit adultery with heathen men and wives. We don't do nothing. We don't do that. We don't commit adultery at all. So that's us showing respect for Yahweh Shai by keeping that law. And we know if we do commit adultery while knowing the truth, while knowing that, that's in the law, that means we don't have fear of Yahweh Shai. We don't respect the Lord if we just commit adultery still while knowing it, knowing not to do it. So just an example, it says, "Blessed is everyone that feareth the Lord and that walketh in his ways, for thou shalt eat the labor of thy hands. Happy shalt thou be, and it shall be well with thee." So we're going to, once again, Lord willing, we be of those men. We're going to eat the labor of our hands. I can, all our videos we did going on the highways and byways, week in, week out, all our prayers, all the sacrifice that we made to Yahweh Shai, it's all going to pay off in the end, man. Because this truth does deal with delayed gratification. You know, and let's just look at that term real quick. Delayed gratification. It says delayed gratification is the ability to resist an immediate reward or temptation in exchange for a larger, more valuable, or enduring reward later. Right? Because in this society, everything is about instant gratification. Everything is people don't want to wait patiently. But us, on the other hand, we know that that reward later is going to be more valuable, man. Because nothing in this life, in this kingdom, can triumph over what the Lord's going to give us, man. You know, you can have a nice car here. Eventually, it's gonna be break down. It has to deal with you got to do the maintenance on the car. Even if you have a new car, you know, you have a house. You know, you got to pay your property taxes. You know, you got to spend a lot of money, man, to own a house. You know, and you gotta always think in the back like, man, even if you have a nice house, you gotta always think like, man, hopefully a robber don't come and try to rob me. So that comes in the back of your mind. You know, you're a target when you, especially when you're Israelite doing good, because Jake, you know, these low life Jakes wanna seek what you got. You know, that crab in the barrel mindset, man. So, which is all the curses. You know, so you'll pray here, man, when you're doing well, and you know, because Jake and the world got a jealous demon, you know, an evil eye towards your brother. You know, so if even if you are doing good here, it's still, you know, you're still under curses, man. You know, but Hebrews 6:10 says, "For Yahweh is not unrighteous to forget your work and labor of love." Yeah, so the Lord is not unrighteous to forget all the works and labors we did toward, you know, of love, man, which He has shewed towards His name, and if in that you have ministered, which minister means to serve to the saints, which are Israelites, and do minister. So we serve our people this word, man. You know, by prophesying to them and breaking down the scriptures, going to the breakdowns. And we do desire that every one of you do show the same diligence to the full assurance of hope unto the end. So we got to be diligent in this thing. Apostle, beginning on Apostle Hari, they always speak about diligence. You know, from the Greek word spude, earnest and accomplish me, promoting or striving after anything, to give all diligence, interest oneself most earnestly. You know, see, it's a diligence, careful and persistent work or effort. You know, another word for diligence is consistency. You know, so that's the spirit we gotta have. We gotta be fervent in serving the Lord, man, not slothful. As it's gonna say in verse 12, it says that she be not slothful. So can't be lazy. Another word for slothful is lazy. It says, but followers of them who through faith and patience inherit the promises. Yeah, so the promises is only for us, Israelites, not for no heathen nation, man. You know, so we got to keep continue to, you know, strive lawfully, man, and be fervent in serving the Lord and not slothful, man, so we can inherit those promises, man, which is ultimately going to be the kingdom, ruling forever, ruling for eternity, man, having a new bodies with spiritual power, the new incorruptible bodies with spiritual power. We never going to die. We're going to live forever. We never going to sin because we're going to have a new covenant in our inner parts. So we're going to, you know, the nation of Israel, and we all going to be blessed, man. All the blessings are going to befall us Israelites. There's going to be no curse. And our whole nation going to be on. It's not going to be how it is now. You know, you have Jakes that so, which they all sellouts, some celebrities. You know, yeah, you know, you got the bag, but you still in the curses. Your people are still downtrodden and oppressed, man. It's not gonna be like that. Again, we all gonna be on, but it's gonna first begin. The leaders of our nation is gonna be Yahweh Shai and the 144,000 holy apostles and prophets that govern the body, man, of the nation of Israel. That's gonna be the leaders in the kingdom, and and every Israelite is going to know who Yahweh Shai and the elect is, man. It's gonna be an order, you know, and it's gonna be all. It's gonna start off all with our Lord Yahweh Shai. So, you know, yeah, I can. So, just wanted to do a quick lesson on that. We'll war through now. Wait for the Lord willing, I was edified, and till next time, Shalom.